All right, good afternoon. We're here today to tell you about a murder for hire case that we have been working on diligently for the last few weeks, but it's been something that's been an ongoing investigation for some time. This actually starts back in 2021, and we can go ahead and roll with the first slide here. This is Andrew Mustapik. He was arrested last night on 2 counts of criminal solicitation. He has a $7 million bond attached to those 2 charges. Additionally, his bond was revoked on the original 2021 case, and we're going to take you back to that. In September of 2021, his original charge was unlawful sexual activity with a minor. He was having a relationship with an underage female, and the situation that he had developed was he had worked out a deal where he was going to pay to purchase a car for her friend so that she would be able to come to his residence. He lives on the beach side in Indian River Shores jurisdiction, and that vehicle was part of the deal. So he was essentially paying this underage girl for sex. This is the original, the plea form, and so you'll see that it started out in August of 21. In September, we had the arrest warrant, and of course he refused to speak with us. And then the next item that pops up here is in January of 2025, where he signs this no contest plea deal. Now, the deal that they agreed to was that he was going to get 1 year of prison time and 10 years of sex offender probation. So 1 year of prison, imagine, assuming he has good behavior, he's probably going to do about 8 months in prison over this case. We're talking about 8 months in prison, 10 years of sex offender probation. On to the next slide. March of 2025, this is when we get information from the hero of this case. A family member comes forward and says he's trying to hire someone to kill the victim in this case, that he wants to pay someone to kill this victim. And so March, we were notified of this. Thank you to the person who came forward. We're not identifying them at this time, but we would not be here today if it weren't for that person that came forward and let us know about this. And so initially he said he wanted to kill him. He then changed his mind and said, well, I just want him to not testify. $20,000 in cash was provided, which we now have in our custody. A short time later, we introduced an undercover deputy. We brought in somebody from out of town to work this case. And in May of 2025, he met with our undercover deputy. He provides another $20,000 to our deputy, which again, we have that money. We're going to seize that money. That's going to be part of this case. It's also going to be ours at the end of this. And ultimately, he says, well, if the victim says that she's not going to, or she doesn't want to comply and not testify in the case, then I'll give you another $50,000 to kill her. That's what he says he's going to do. So we'll play the next slide. This is the cash that was provided to our undercover, $20,000. When we conducted a search warrant on his residence last night, he had a variety of bank envelopes where he's been pulling out this money, preparing for this, and money was seen inside the safe that he told he was prepared to pay to have this person killed. Yesterday, while we're on surveillance, we know this is going on. We've got the victim protected, safe, away. We know what's happening there. Andy Mustapik is seen twice going to the North Sebastian River, right there on the county line, A1A, tossing electronics into the river. The St. Lucie County dive team came up and ultimately were able to recover a laptop and hard drives that were tossed in the river yesterday. While we were on surveillance, they were able to recover those items. And then yesterday evening, that's the video there of him tossing those items. You'll receive a copy of that. Our folks were able to take that, showing him throwing those items off the bridge. You can go to the next one. When we went to his house last night on the search warrant, we actually recovered the rest of the laptop and some other electronic items that he was trying to get rid of. So we're able to show that the items we recovered from the river are consistent with the items that were from his home. Next slide. This is a video, and you're going to see this. This is going to play in here. Hopefully the audio sounds good, but you're going to see him talking to our undercover detective about the murder. So if you can play this. You have to turn up the audio on it.
Right? Yeah. I mean, if you're saying 20 and another 25, it just takes
25 and 25, you total 70.
right? It'd be cheaper, just fucking go.
Tell
Play it one more time for him.
easier, it would be cheaper just to kill
Okay.
her, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you're saying 20 and another 25, just take
25 and 25, you total 70.
right? It'd be cheaper to just fucking kill her.
Tell them,
You guys will have the original of this. Obviously, we've not edited it for language. For those of you, if you were live, I'm sorry about the language in that. But I will tell you that, he's saying in there, it'd be cheaper to just kill her. That's the language. That's what he's saying in that video. And so this guy is an absolute animal. He's, over 8 months that he's going to spend in prison, he's willing to have somebody bumped off. He's willing to spend $100,000 to take somebody that he doesn't even know and do this. Huge shout out to our entire team that's been working relentlessly to make this case happen, to protect our victim and to bring justice in this case. Again, he's in on a $7 million bond. His bond on the original charge is revoked. Our team did an amazing job. Detective Farinacci is here with me in case we have any questions I can't answer, but they did amazing. Also, a huge thank you to St. Lucie Dive Team for assembling yesterday so quickly and recovering those items. We also want to thank our partners at the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office for helping us out with this case. They were a big part of this as well. With that, I'll take questions.
Where's he from?
He's from here, from Indian River County.
From New River County.
Yep, he lives on our beach side.
Did he buy a car for the victim or for the victim's friend?
For the victim's friend, and that was part of the deal. The victim was underage, and he was saying, you're going to drive her here for our relations, for these things to happen. And that was part of the original deal back in 2021. And so the victim's friend is not part of the murder for hire plot, the additional charges. It was all about the victim. He really wanted her to not testify. His plan was to withdraw the plea deal, to pull out of the plea deal, and then if the victim is no longer here, he would essentially get sentenced to nothing. Our belief is that he really was bent up about the sex offender probation, and that's what he wanted to get out of, the 10 years of sex offender probation.
How old was the victim?
Underage at the time of the crime. I can't really talk about it. I can't identify the victim, but underage at the time in 2021.
Under 18.
Under 18 at that time. And, again, that victim has been working with us. We've, let them know today about what's happened in this case. And obviously they're in a safe place. We want to make sure that they continue to be safe because, and we'll be monitoring his calls and everything from jail as well in case he decides that he wants to try and contact somebody else on this.
Can you say how the two first got into contact? Was it online, in person?
The original
The
victim,
original victim and Mr.
do you have info on that?
Yeah, so the defendant spoke to the victim's friend over a dating app, and that's how they initiated contact with one another.
But it was a transactional relationship where it was pay for sex, underage victim, I'm getting this car for you, I'm doing these things. And so much like the case where he's willing to bump her off in exchange for this money, he's all about paying for everything.
How many times did he have sex with the girl?
We don't have those details. That's something about that case that we wouldn't go into
It was
at this time.
multiple times?
Yeah, and you guys reported on that case back in 2021. We did a press. Yeah, we did press on it back in 2021. We made a big deal about it back then. This is the follow-up on it, showing that he's willing to have her killed as a result of this. Over 8 months in prison. He was going to do probably 8 months in prison.
You called him an animal. Can you
Yeah.
elaborate on that?
The idea that his disregard for life, that he's saying it'd be cheaper, I'd rather spend the money. It's just disgusting. The disregard for human life, that he would think that this is okay to just pay somebody who he barely knows. We've introduced an undercover, and he's willing to give him money to have her killed or at least not testify is crazy.
How much was he going to pay the hit person?
So he paid $40,000. We got $20,000 in one lump sum, 20 in another lump sum. His goal was for her to not testify, but he was willing to pay 50 on top of that to have her killed if need be.
He was willing to pay $90,000.
At least, if not more. It was a conversation that he was ready to have. And that was as part of there's more dialogue than what you see here. They met multiple times. We've been working with the state attorney's office on this case for some time, and it's an ongoing investigation. You know, when we pushed it out today, that's something we talked about. We still haven't had a chance to look at the electronics yet. We're still looking at potentially other charges in this case. This is definitely one of those just horrendous ones that's unbelievable.
So do you know if there are other victims in this case?
At this time, there's nothing that leads us to believe there's any other victims, but you know, the fact that he's willing to make these phone calls and meet up with people he's never met, that you know, he's willing to hand them $40,000 in cash with hopes that they're going to go away, is just crazy.
What does he do for a living? Do we know?
I can tell you that he had a computer business in Vero at one point. I don't know, is he still doing
He
computers?
does IT stuff.
IT support. He's a computer guy. He definitely, you know, that's why it's important for us to look at those items, the things that he was throwing in the river, and see what it is he was trying to get rid of.
What kind of a car did he buy?
I don't know the details on the car.
Did he have sex with the girl multiple times or once?
More than once.
Are you providing more extra protective services for the victim? at the
We,
time?
we are working with the victim, and we will continue to provide them support as much as we possibly can from our team. We will be keeping an eye on this situation.
So he's in jail now on a $7 million bond. I saw on the screen sentencing June 6th.
Correct.
Is he now going to be sentenced on
So
these charges?
he will be sentenced on the original charge, the original plea deal that he signed off on, which will be that year plea deal, 10 years of sex offender probation, while he's locked up, because the bond was revoked on that charge. Once that passes, then he will be in on the $7 million bond, and we will continue to work on this case with the state to prosecute this one.
And what are the official charges he faces based on this?
So it's 2 counts of solicitation of tampering with a witness, and he could potentially face more charges depending on what we get from the laptop, what our investigation continues to reveal, and what the state is interested in bringing.
You might have just explained this, but the 2 counts, was that regarding the same person that he was attempting to?
Correct, yes, 2 counts.
And was that video, was that shot at his Indian River Shores area home?
That one was at the house. We have other video. We met with him multiple times. So that's the one we're releasing right now. We're going to give you that short snippet in the press packet, and we may release other video in the future. We'll see.
Did someone ask, does he work? What does he do for a living?
Yeah, he's IT. He has an IT business.
He owns a company?
He definitely at one point had one. I don't know if he still has a company, but I do know that he did have an IT company in Indian River.
One thing, sir, the hitman that he was speaking with, was that an undercover deputy or
Yes,
was
sir.
it somebody else?
Yeah, undercover that was working with our agency. Thank you guys for coming up. We appreciate the coverage on this. And again, just a great shout out to our partners and everybody who's involved in this case. Thank you. Thanks.